Can solar panels really give you free power? Short answer, yes, but not in the way most people think. And that misunderstanding is exactly why a lot of people get disappointed. Some people expect free electricity from day one. Others think solar is only for homeowners with a perfect roof and a big budget. But the truth is much more practical and much more useful. In this video, I'll show you how solar power really works in everyday life, what free power actually means, and how to think about solar in a smart way. Let's start with the biggest myth. Free power does not mean zero cost. What it really means is this: the sunlight itself is free. But the system that converts sunlight into usable electricity, panels, equipment, installation, and setup, usually costs money. So a better way to think about it is, solar can help you create lower cost power over time. So how does solar power work? In simple terms, very simple. Sunlight hits solar panels. The panels generate electricity. Then that electricity can go in different directions depending on your setup. Usually there are three main routes. 1, you use the power directly in your home. 2, you store it in a battery for later. 3, you send extra power back to the grid if your setup and local rules allow that. That's it. It's not only about how much power you generate, it's also about when you generate it and when you use it. That timing difference is where many people lose money or save much more than expected. Now, before we continue, I want to make this super clear. This video gives you the roadmap. If you want the full step-by-step breakdown, that's exactly what I cover in the ebook linked below. The ebook is the full playbook. Solar is not one size fits all. A traditional rooftop system is one option, but it's not the only one. There are smaller modular setups, portable solutions, and balcony systems. The right starting point is not the biggest system. The right starting point is the most useful system for your current situation. Think about your daily energy habits, when you use the most electricity, and whether you need backup or bill reduction. A lot of people ask, how long before solar pays for itself? The honest answer is, it depends. People who plan carefully, set realistic expectations, and use their energy strategically get the best results. That's exactly what this video series and the ebook are designed to help you do. A lot of people assume solar is only worth it if they have a perfect roof. South-facing, no shade, big surface area, no restrictions. But real life is rarely that perfect. Some people rent. Some people have shading from trees or nearby buildings. Some people have roof limitations, budget limitations, or landlord limitations. And that does not automatically mean solar is off the table. It just means the strategy may need to change. Instead of asking only, can I install a full rooftop system? A better question is, what kind of solar setup makes sense for my situation right now? That shift in thinking is powerful. Because for many people, the smartest step is not the biggest system. It's the most practical system they can actually use consistently. That could mean starting smaller, using a hybrid approach, or combining solar with battery storage in a way that matches your daily routine. Now let's talk about another big misconception. How much power can I really generate myself? People often overestimate this, not because they're careless, but because solar is often advertised in ideal conditions. And real life is not ideal conditions. Your actual results depend on several things, including your location and sunlight hours, roof angle and direction, shade during the day, season and weather, temperature, and system maintenance. Even dirt, dust, or partial shade can make a noticeable difference. So if your results are lower than a marketing image or a perfect case estimate, that does not mean solar doesn't work. It usually means your expectations were not calibrated to real-world conditions. This is where many people make a costly mistake. They plan based on best-case output. Then they feel frustrated when real output is lower. A smarter approach is to plan around realistic performance, then treat higher output days as a bonus. That mindset helps you build a system that feels reliable. And here's the good news. You do not need to generate 100% of your electricity to benefit from solar. Let me say that again, because this matters a lot. You do not need to cover your entire energy use to make solar worthwhile. Even partial coverage can lower your bills, reduce peak usage, and give you more control, especially if you use the energy strategically. In my ebook, I go deeper into realistic solar thinking, what affects output most, and how to avoid common expectation mistakes before buying. But for this video, I want to give you the practical framework first. Next, let's talk about where the biggest savings often come from, and it's not always more panels. Let me explain what I mean by partial coverage. Imagine your household uses 20 kilowatt hours of electricity per day. A solar setup that covers even 8 to 10 of those kilowatt hours is already meaningful. That's 40 to 50% of your daily use, potentially coming from free sunlight. The rest still comes from the grid, but your bill is lower. And if you combine that with smart timing, running heavy appliances during peak solar hours, you can push that savings even further. That's the mindset shift that separates people who feel let down by solar from people who feel empowered by it. It is not about perfection, it is about fit. Does this setup fit my home? Does it fit my budget? Does it fit the way I actually use energy day to day? When the answer to those three questions is yes, solar becomes a practical tool, not a gamble. And the good news is, figuring out whether it fits does not require a degree in engineering. It requires the right questions, the right framework, and realistic numbers. That's exactly what I break down in the ebook, step by step, without the jargon. Here's something many beginners miss. The biggest improvement is not always adding more solar panels. Sometimes the biggest improvement comes from using your energy more intelligently. This is where smart combinations matter. Remember the 3 routes we mentioned earlier? Use it now, store it for later, or export it to the grid. The right mix of those 3 can make a huge difference in how much value you get from your solar setup. For example, if you generate power during the day but use most of your electricity at night, your results may be weaker unless you adjust your habits or add storage. That does not mean everyone needs a battery immediately. A battery can be helpful, but it's not automatically step 1 for every person. Sometimes the smartest first move is reducing waste, shifting energy use to sunny hours, understanding your priority appliances, and building your system step by step. That approach is often more affordable and less stressful. So who are solar panels and batteries actually suitable for? In general, they can be a great fit for people who want one or more of these. Lower electricity costs over time, more control over energy use, backup power options, a more resilient household setup, or a practical path toward energy independence. And yes, this includes more people than just homeowners. Even if you're renting, there may still be smart ways to use solar in a limited or flexible setup. Who is this not ideal for? If someone expects instant, unlimited, zero-cost electricity with no planning and no investment, solar will probably feel disappointing. Solar works best when you treat it as a system, not a magic trick. And once you understand that, it becomes much easier to make good decisions. Let's talk about timing for a moment, because this is one of the most overlooked factors in getting value from solar. Your electricity grid usually charges different rates at different times of the day. Peak hours, often late afternoon and early evening, are typically the most expensive. That's also when the sun is starting to fade. So if you've been storing solar energy in a battery during the day, you can use that stored power during peak hours instead of drawing from the grid. That's load shifting, and it can significantly increase the financial return of your setup. And even without a battery, you can benefit from timing. If you run your dishwasher, washing machine, or EV charger during the sunniest hours of the day, you're using solar power directly instead of paying grid rates. That's free fuel doing the work. It does not require a complicated system. It just requires a small shift in routine. Here's the bottom line on smart solar combinations. More panels is not always the answer. Better timing, smarter usage, and the right storage strategy often matter just as much or more. And the good news is, you do not have to figure this out alone. That's exactly what the ebook is for. It walks you through the practical decision-making process, step by step, so you can build the right setup for your situation without guessing, overspending, or feeling overwhelmed. So let's recap the big takeaways from this video. First, free power really means lower cost power over time, not zero upfront cost. Second, solar performance depends on real-world conditions, so realistic expectations matter. Third, smart usage, storage, and timing can be just as important as total panel size. If you want the complete guide, including practical setup paths, common mistakes, realistic output thinking, and a deeper breakdown of how to choose the right approach for your situation, check the ebook in the link below. This video is the overview. The ebook is the full playbook. I'm Alma, and if you want to learn how to use energy smarter without the hype, subscribe to this channel and check the link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.